Hello and welcome back. This is Candace from Candoodle, and today we're going to be making this masculine shark-themed birthday card. So let's get started. I'm going to use the Avery Elle Sea-prise stamp set, the Lawn Fawn Stitched Wave Borders dies, and the My Favorite Things Blueprints 29 dies. And I'm just starting by taking the shark out of the stamp set, and I'm going to stamp him down with my Misty. I am conditioning him just by rubbing my fingers over him because this is the first time I'm using this stamp set, and I'm going to stamp it down with some Gina Obsidian Black Amalgam ink because we are going to Copic color this later. So I'm now just taking the two biggest dies from the blueprint set and I'm nesting those together, trying to make sure there's an even space between them because I'm actually not going to be using any of the frames. I'm going to set those aside for future cards, but I am going to use the sort of picture frame that is the space between the two dies to set up for this card. So I'm just going to score my card base at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 and take out some blue cardstock that I'm going to cut the waves from. So I'm just setting those up under my frame to kind of see what they're going to look like. I want to have two light blue waves at the front and back and then a darker wave in between. So I'm just taping those down with some washi tape onto my blue cardstock and trying to conserve space where I can and running those through my die cut machine. One of them doesn't cut fully through, so I just use my scissors to cut that. And then I'm going to position them behind my frame to see how they're looking. And once I'm happy with that, I'm going to set it aside and start on the Copic coloring. So like I've said before, I'm not a Copic expert, but I do watch quite a few videos and I'm trying to improve. I always include the colors that I'm using on the screen. I know my videos aren't perfect and I'm still starting out, but something that I sometimes am like, oh, I wish I knew what they were doing on other videos. They don't always show the colors that they're using, and that's something that I have a hard time with. I know it should seem simple, but I sometimes have trouble picking out colors, so I do like to show the colors that I use in case anybody else has this stamp set or maybe wants to get ideas from the colors that I'm using. So I just go starting from lightest to darkest, and then I move from darkest back out to the lightest. And so I am starting with the shark's main body, which is gray, and then I also decided to color the inside of his mouth gray, which I know is a little bit unconventional, but I was looking at pictures of the stamp set online, and I didn't really like the way that the red mouth looked. It kind of looked aggressive. I know it's a shark, but I wanted this to be a cute shark, you know? Anyway, so I decided to go with gray, which I had saw somebody else do online. I believe it was Heather Campbell. And so I went with gray for the inside of the mouth, and I'm actually really happy with how that turned out. And then I'm just going to use some yellow hues to color in his cute little party hat because I thought that went well with the kind of color scheme that I was going for. And last but not least, I'm just coming in and giving him some little rosy cheeks. And so I am going to fussy cut this because I don't have the dies for this particular stamp set. I'm not the best fussy cutter. I know the Simon Hurleys and Jennifer McGuire's make it look easy, but this was not the easiest thing for me, but I'm working on it, trying to get better. And so I'm just cutting around him and cutting off some sharp corners, and then I am ready to start assembling the card. So I'm just fitting him into the waves and seeing where I kind of like him, and then I'm taping the waves down once I'm happy with them so I know where I should glue them down. So I glued the bottom one and I didn't fully glue it. I only glued about the bottom half because I do need to fit my shark in there. The other wave I did glue fully down. And so I'm going to see where that looks good behind my frame and make sure my shark still fits, and then draw a pencil line around so I know where to cut off the excess with my guillotine trimmer so it fits behind the frame without showing. And then I'm going to glue that just to my frame, and then I'm going to stick my shark inside. So I'm gluing him at the bottom wave, and then I'm going to squirt some more glue down just to make sure he's stuck there. You will see I put some blue cardstock behind his head. You definitely don't need to do this, but I found his head was just floating a little bit because of the dimensional difference between the waves. So I just cut out a little piece of cardstock and glued it behind there to make sure his head had some support. It definitely wasn't the easiest to glue there, so I cut it out because my head kept getting in the camera, but that is something that I did. I am now just taking my mini Misty and aligning that sentiment and seasoning it again because this is the first time I'm using it. I'm stamping it down twice with some Obsidian Black Amalgam ink, and then I am going to make sure everything is lined up before I add some tape runner to the back of my main picture frame, and then I'm going to glue that down. And so that is the final card. It is super simple and masculine, and I'm hoping my cousin likes it for his birthday. I hope you enjoyed today's card. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate the time you spend with me. Please remember to give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You can also find me over on Instagram at Candoodle Creations, and I will see you next week in my next video. Bye!